Hey everybody, it's Lyn from Lyn's Crafts. I've got this tutorial that I was introduced to by my friend Judy McKinnis, and she graciously allowed me to do a tutorial on it. So what I've got, is an inkjet image, and you can use a photograph, a laser jet image, an inkjet image, just about any image you can think of. If you're going to want to sell it, you're going to want royalty-free images. They've got lots of them online. I've cut a pattern out and used it to cut my image out. And I've cut the pattern out where I've left a little bit like above her hat. I've left it a little bit large. A little bit larger than what I want. So I'll take the pattern and lay it out on my clay, and then cut the clay a little larger than that even. Alright, so I've got the back of the clay, the image, and as some of you may have already guessed, packing tape. Now let me give you a word of friendly advice. Don't use old packing tape. I did have to go to the dollar store and buy a new roll of packing tape because mine was rather old. Still works for packing tape, but you can see the color difference, and it's ripply, and it's just an older roll of tape. The older roll of tape did not want to stay stuck down. So, new roll of tape is what I needed to really make this technique work. So what you're going to do is you're going to coat both sides. You're going to coat both sides of the image with the tape. And I have no advice how to get it down wrinkle free. Okay, I've got the image covered front and back, and as you can see, I didn't trim it up so close that it's right next to the paper. Alright, this is the bit the camera skipped last time, the important part. So I've got the front and the back covered with the tape, and I've left it a little large, and I'm going to stick it down to the back bit. Alright, now you want to kind of burnish it down relatively good. What you're trying to do is to get any air bubbles that might be trapped in between the clay and the image. Alright, I got another little one right there. That one may actually be in my clay. Alright. Okay. Now, you've got the image stuck down to a piece of clay just a little bigger than the image. Then, I rolled out a snake, and then I rolled it out with my pasta machine. And I'm telling you, this could not be a worse video. The one that I did yesterday was perfect, except for the missing bit. Alright, so I've got this strip of clay, and what I'm wanting to do is to cut it down a bit, because this is going to be the frame of the image. So I've just got my clay blade, my extra long one. Alright, and as you can see, what I've done is I've laid the finished piece around the edge of the image. Alright, I'm going to come back around to the beginning. Alright. Alright. Now, you can either leave it just like this, or you can take a rubber stamp, a deep etched rubber stamp, and give it a little bit of texture. Don't press hard. Just enough to give it a little bit of an imprint. Alright, can you see that? Okay. Now, what you want to do is stick it to a baking towel or a sheet of paper or whatever you're baking on, baking pan, and you want to smooth the edges, just barely with your finger. Smooth the edges. You're only rounding that edge just a barely bit and making sure that it's in contact with the clay underneath it. Alright, now we're going to bake this, and I can hear you all asking the question now, won't the tape melt? No, the tape will not melt. The tape will be just fine. So I'm going to bake this at recommended temperature, and I'm going to bake it for 40 minutes. Alright, and I'll be back. Alright, here it is out of the oven. And one of the things I've been wanting to say is to the newbies, if you're baking on a glass or a ceramic tile, your piece will probably be stuck when it comes out of the oven. Just let it cool down, and then a razor blade, a palette knife, something, just underneath the edge, and it will pop right off there. It's mostly just the suction that's holding it down. Alright, so I've laid this down on another piece of clay for my backing. You could use it right now just like this. No problem. As you can see, it's pretty, it's shiny, it's gorgeous. Just glue a bell to the back and you're good to go. Alright? But I'm gonna go ahead and finish this piece off. So I'm just gonna put some baking bond on the back. You just want to make sure there's no air bubbles underneath, and that can happen, believe me. Alright, then we're going to pick one of these I'll pick a silver one. Alright, and this is the top. So I'm just going to squirt me a little more bacon bond in there. And then we're going to turn it over. Make sure it's kind of centered. And as you can see, I just brought the clay up around the edge to make sure that the glue-on part is completely buried in there. And then I'm going to do the same thing and round the edge just a bit. Once again, just so you don't have that sharp cut edge. You could leave it and then sand it afterwards if you wanted to. Alright, then I'm going to put this back in the oven, this time just for 30 minutes. So, 40 the first time, 30 the second time, 30 the first time, 40 the second time, whatever you want to do. Alright, and then I'll be back. Okay, here it is out of the oven. Front and back are finished. You can take a little acrylic paint, just dab your finger in it and just rub that along the edge. Some Inca Gold. You can even take Pearl-Ex powder mixed with your glaze or perfect pearls and do that around the edge. I'm going to do some old silver Inca Gold. Old silver Inca Gold. And when you're using Inca Gold, literally all you need is a touch. If you get too much, it'll fill in all those recesses. So you really want a light touch so that it keeps all that detail. Alright, and I just buffed it with a soft cloth. Alright, now you're starting to see the finished results. You could, like I said, you could leave it just like this, or you could put some UV resin. You could probably, no, I'm not even going to say it. I was going to say you could probably do 2-part resin, but I'm not even going to say it. I don't know enough about how a 2-part resin would react to the tape, if there would be a reaction or not. Alright, so I've just sprinkled just a little bit of glitter. And I've just tried to pull it back out of her face a little and out of her neck area just a little bit. Alright, and then I'm going to lay it on my tile because if you can see, the bail sticks down below the level of the back, and if I try to set that in my UV oven like that, it wouldn't be level, and all my UV resin would leak out. Alright, so I've got my Ultra Dome. Sorry, it's got blue tape on it. I did buy another bottle, and I'll try to remember to put the link down below. Alright, and as you can see, I only filled the middle of that up. And we're just going to let gravity do its thing. Just keep in mind you don't have a very deep well to work with. So that's why I stopped and only put it in the middle. Because if I tried to fill the whole thing with resin, it would have overfilled. Alright, now just using a needle or a wire. Just going to bring that out to the edge. Alright. Now you're going to look at it in the light and make sure you keep it level, but you're looking for any air bubbles. I've got one right over here. I don't know if y'all can see it or not. It's right in that black area. So I'll just take a lighter and just get it close to the surface and it'll pop it. Alright, that looks like it. I'm going to put this under the UV light and then I'll come back and show it finished. Alright, while waiting on that under the UV light, this is the one I did in the other tutorial that you're not going to see. It somehow got a bubble in it that I didn't notice until it was too late. Occasionally you'll get a series of bubbles that'll come up on the edge. It'll come out from underneath the image that's taped down. That's why I suggested burnishing it down so well. But it usually only happens on these larger pieces. As you can see, this is a much larger piece. And I had that happen on this piece, and I just put a little bit of micro beads to give it a little look. Alright. Okay. Alright, now here is the finished piece. And as you can see, it didn't happen on this one. So, alright, there it is. And again, I want to thank Judy McKinnis for turning me on to this technique and allowing me to do the tutorial. So, thank you, Judy. And thank you to all of my new subbies and all of my old subbies alike. I shall holler at y'all later. Bye now.